preparing for divorce, there are a few things that you have to take the time to do. You have to set aside a few quiet hours for yourself to think about your financial life before, during, and after divorce, and to pull out certain documentation that you're going to have to review or bring to the certified financial planner, and then call the certified financial planner, or CFP, that's what I am. And the reason being is that the CFP is governed by a code of ethics that demands that the person put your best interest in front of their own all the time. So at a time where you're feeling vulnerable, you have this person with you who's going to hold your hand and always be looking for the road that's going to be best for you, instead of trying to sell you something or talk you into something that you don't need because they're taking advantage. So it's really important, if it's not me, that it's somebody that has the CFP designation. Now, here are some of the things in your financial life that you need to consider when you're contemplating divorce. Income sources. What are your sources? What are your spouse's sources? How will each spouse be able to earn a living on his or her own? And does each spouse have a career to fall back on? And then we work on these aspects because it's necessary to have the income, the career to fall back on, to feel secure that you can bring in at least part of your own income, if not all of it. Expenses, bless you. What are our expenses? What special expenses will be coming up? Do we have to pay for camp or college for the kids? Do we have to renovate the house if we might be putting it on the market? Does somebody need a new car in order to be more mobile and be able to get to a new job, or to be able to shuttle the kids around more than they were before? How will the expenses grow and change if we're maintaining two households? And how will the expenses be covered if we split up? Debts. You have to make a list of all of your debts. And be sure to order your credit reports from Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, or make your life a little bit easier by going to www.annualcreditreport.com, because often when somebody's contemplating divorce or going through divorce, the other spouse may open up credit cards in the other spouse's name, or may not pay bills, and you really, really, really have to avoid any bad surprises. So you're allowed one free credit report a year, but you really have to sit on this and maintain this and try to correct any situations that arise, because you really don't want to damage your credit reputation. Then, using the specific data about income, expenses, and debts, the certified financial planner will work with you to prepare a statement of cash flow. And you can throw at me, this is what I do in my practice, all kinds of scenarios. What if we sell the house? What if we don't sell the house? What if we rent instead? What if one of us gets a new job? What if none of us get a new job? What if our kids who are going to college get a scholarship? Anything at all that you could possibly think of, and we're trained to put it into different scenarios to calculate, what your future will look like, what kind of income you would need from a new job, what you can hope to earn, what kind of future you have, what you have to save to make your goals, and so on and so on. There's so many outcomes and so many ways to change outcomes. But then we take this cash flow, the income, the expenses, the debts, and we use it to prepare the financial affidavit, which is required by the state of Florida when you're filing for divorce, as well as to give to the attorney and the other parties involved in negotiating settlement. And this can change so many times, and a lot of times I give the ingredients to the attorney, or to the mediator, or to the husband, or to the wife, and then they pull this information together, and maybe their CPA also helps them, and so on, and they come up with a proposal for a settlement. And then it goes back and forth and back and forth, but all this financial information is crucial in the settlement and in the documentation that's required by the state of Florida. What I also do is I also review the investment statements for inside the retirement accounts and outside the retirement accounts. I might work with the advisor, it might be the attorney, it might be the tax advisor, whoever is preparing the qualified domestic relations order called a quadro, which has to do with the division of the retirement assets and what's a fair distribution and how much income can the spouse who's getting the half of the retirement assets hope to get, and then what should they be putting away in their own retirement account, and what can they afford to save, and so on. As well as how to organize the new investment portfolio, because when it's split into two for two people with two completely different living arrangements and living styles, it's different than when you're married and your assets are all put together. The CFP, the Certified Financial Planner, which I also do this, can act as a go-between with the Social Security Administration if you're doing divorce planning. What benefits can you get? What are your options in terms of when you should be taking these benefits? How does this income fit into your financial picture? Health insurance is another major issue. Which spouse has been providing the health insurance for the family? Should you choose COBRA? COBRA is the extension of your spouse's health insurance policy, but it's inordinately expensive. Or should you be looking for an individual policy? And the CFP, like me, can be the go-between between you and the insurance representative. How much can you afford? What kind of coverage do you need? Do you need to also cover the children? There's a whole bunch of questions that go into that. And as you grow a little bit older, you may also consider long-term care insurance, because now, after all, you're going to be living solo. So who's going to be taking care of you and who's going to be paying for this? Because now you're not a team to take care of each other. So now what? So it can be the go-between between you and the insurance rep to figure out what's really the best for you and also what you can afford to provide for yourself. Now, there are many, many tax implications that have to do with divorce. For one thing, you're most likely going to be moving from a situation where you're married filing joint taxes to a place where you're a single head of household. And the rates are different, and so on. Alimony is usually taxable. There's a way of structuring settlements where there could be tax ramifications or not tax ramifications. So the CFP can sit with you with the tax advisor and make sure that you really, really, really understand everything, what choices you should make, how to really fit all this into your new life, and can be an extra set of ears in the room, because if you're stressed, you might not be thinking clearly, you might be distracted, you might not really have a financial grasp, or just for that day, you might be going through a rough day and you don't have a grasp on what you're being told. So we want to make sure that you really understand everything. So in conclusion, going through divorce, as we know, poses many emotional, legal, and financial challenges. Divorce is costly, and no two divorces are ever alike. You might be talking with your friends about their situation, and what they're talking to you about is all gobbledygook. It has nothing to do with you, and your situation has nothing to do with them. So you really need to have a certified financial planner on your side. You shouldn't delay, because there's a lot of services that we can provide to really help you feel more confident and secure, at least about the financial transition to your new situation, to make sure that you really understand what you're getting into and hold your hand through the process.